Good evening. Welcome to Undo and Renew. Tonight we're going to focus on the lower back, focus on the legs through the water element. And if you haven't already gathered your props, go ahead and gather your props in pairs. So I have here many of the choices. You can have 2 blankets or towels that are folded, such as sort of the size of blocks. You could have 2 yoga blocks. I'm sitting on one right now. 2 bed pillows, or perhaps a large blanket that you could fold. So make sure that you have at least 2 of these. So maybe 2 bed pillows and 2 towels, or a blanket and 2 blocks, some combination. So go ahead and get your props. I'll give you a moment to gather your things, and then we'll meet back on the mat. So now that you have your props ready, we are going to start on the feet, and we are going to address this little metatarsal arch right below the ball of the foot. So here's your regular big arch, and then right below the ball of the foot in the middle, there's a smaller arch called the metatarsal. So go ahead and draw yourself up to stand. And like I said, we're going to focus on the lower back, which includes the hips and pelvis. So there's some smaller muscles inside the piriformis and the psoas that can get kind of sticky sometimes, especially if we have some fear in our life or we've had a trauma, and that's something the whole world right now is facing. So take your feet a little wider than hip distance, and then just go ahead and start rolling from the ball of the foot to the heel. So my knees are softly bent, and I'm just feeling the feet. Go ahead and rock. Feel your feet. You're supported here. You're still on earth. And then lean back into the feet enough that you can lift all 10 toes. Press into the feet with keeping the toes up, and you'll start to feel that metatarsal arch activate. And then bring the toes down to the mat. Press the toes in, and just allow yourself to feel a little different in the feet here, lifting through the arches. And then keeping the knees softly bent, draw the shoulders up to the ears, squeeze all the tension, squeeze the shoulder blades together in the back, and then release the arms down. You can do this with a breath out the mouth, maybe making a sigh, squeeze, squeeze. One more. Big inhale, squeeze it out, and then let it go. And then we're just going to start here with some hip circles. So gently starting to feel how we can draw, as if you're drawing with the tailbone, a circle between the feet, just a little small circle. Hands can be open to the side, hands can be on the hips. We're just going to start to get some movement here in these tissues that can get a little sticky. And then pause, change directions. So we're going to work with the water meridians in Chinese medicine, the kidney and bladder meridians that are also related to fear. So the psoas and the piriformis muscle, when we are ready to go to fight or flight, they get ready to run. But if we're sitting a lot, maybe looking at the news or thinking, then when those piriformis and psoas muscles get ready to run, or we have a little fear in our life, everything can get frozen here in the hips. And I've been talking to many students lately who are suffering from lower back pain. Go ahead and take another circle around, and then find your way back to center. So we're going to address that through the meridians, through the water element, and just focusing on the hips and legs. Go ahead and take your arms out to the side and then just start leaning, looking to the right and then looking to the left. And we're gonna just start to open up in the central axis. So first to start, you're just leaning in to one side, feeling tightness or where perhaps there might be tightness. And then we're gonna just start to move from side to side. So you're still keeping those feet super active, pressing down into the toes, opening up that metatarsal arch, that's the beginning of the kidney meridian. And you can go slow or as fast as you'd like here, but we're just spinning around the central axis. So you have this, the axis of the body that goes from the crown to the tailbone, in the center of the body, and we just want to find where center is. And take a little twist. If you trust yourself, you can close off the eyes. Just take the gaze inward. Noticing the crown rising up. The feet nicely rooted and grounded. Eventually, the arms will just follow. And then you can start to even tap on the kidneys as one hand comes behind you. So the kidneys are also where our birth qi is stored, the qi that we inherit from our parents. It oversees fear in the body. So we want to really allow that fear to be released by feeling grounded, the beginning of the kidney meridians in the feet. So just take a few more taps here on the kidneys. And then you're going to slowly start to release the technique, but you're not going to try to stop the body. Just notice what happens to the body when you stop putting in effort. We've started to make a wave here in the water body, right? The whole body is about 70% liquid. And so once we start this wave, you might notice that if you don't stop it, the body just keeps moving. Well, that's a good sign. Just let it slowly find equilibrium. And then we're gonna roll the shoulders out. So one arm forward, one arm back, and softening the knees. And again, now we're making a wave of the body a different direction. So just bend the knees, the hands come down. We want moving these fluids. So when we go into fight, flight, or freeze, if we can't fight or flight, then we lock up that piriformis and that psoas muscle. So they just freeze, and it's as if the fluids of the body also freeze, or the connective tissue, the fascia, can get really sticky. And the fluids don't want to move through there, are literally frozen. So we just want to move some of the fluids through the body before we come into our resting poses. Go ahead and take a few more like this with effort, and then release the effort. Notice what happens. Once you get those fluids going in the body, and then just slowly, without effort of trying to stop it, just let yourself find homeostasis. Once you find that stillness, take a moment. Bring the hands to the belly and go back to feeling the feet. Rock back and forth from the heels to the ball of the feet. Lift the toes. Press into the four corners of the feet. And then place the toes on the mat. Feel the lift in the metatarsal. And we're going to take a waterfall with the body as we trace the meridians. So we're going to start with the bladder meridian, which is just inside of the eyes. And you can just trace and brush your body. It goes up over the top of the skull, onto the back of the neck, down the back, buttocks, back of legs, backs of the knees, and then the sides of the legs and out the small toe. And let yourself fully take a forward fold there. As you inhale, bringing the hands inside the arches, inside the legs, up through the hip creases, along the front of the body, and then just below the collarbones. Take a full breath in, full breath out. Rock on the feet. Once again, lift the toes. And then place the toes on the mat. Feel the lift of the arch, connecting to the earth. So water wants to flow with gravity. Come back to the inside of the eyes, the beginning of the bladder meridian, up along the top side of the head, back of the neck, sweeping around the both back sides of the spines, buttocks, backs of legs, backs of knees, sides of the calves, out the small toes. Let yourself take a full forward fold. Full breath in, full breath out. On the next inhale, sweeping on the inside of the feet, the inside of the legs, up the inside of the hip creases, and this time the sides of the ribs, and just pause here. So you have an alarm point for the kidneys right there, the sides of the ribs. And just take a full breath in, full breath out. And then one more time. Insides of the eyes, beginning of the bladder meridian, over the top of the head, back of the neck, back of the back, backs of legs, down to the knees, and then it comes out to the sides of the legs, out the small toe, forward fold, full breath in, full breath out. On your next inhale, sweeping up the insides of the feet, insides of the legs, hip creases, and back to the sides of the rib cage. Take a full breath in, full breath out. Now we're going to take a little self-massage on the back of the head tonight, and you can have two different hand positions. One is to have the hands interlaced and use the thumbs. The other will just be to have the hands overlapped and use the thumbs. And where we're coming to is the back of the occipital ridge. So that's this bone across the top of the neck and the skull. There's a center point, and then there's two bands of muscles, and then there's spots on either sides of these bands of muscles. So we're going to be using the hands either interlaced, thumbs just at that point at the top of the occipital ridge, and where the bands of muscles just on outside the bands of muscles, but then also focusing just a little bit on the center point, either as a point of balance or just feeling the warmth of the hands. And we're going to come back to that a couple of times tonight. So just right now, just give yourself a little neck massage. And then we're going to come down to the mat. So if you haven't already started your playlist, go ahead and find your playlist, gather your props, take a little sip of water. And I'm going to give you a lot of choices tonight. So once you find your most comfortable way of being, just go with that. We're going to come into a bridge prep pose, and you're going to have something underneath your sacrum. So it might be a pillow, or it might be a block, or it might be a combination of a pillow and a block and a towel. I'll show you what it will look like in different options if you're taking a pillow. It'll be a little bit softer, not as much lift, and it's just going underneath the sacrum. So the sacrum's just lifted a little bit so that when you extend your legs, your back doesn't feel overextended. The other option is for you to use a block underneath the sacrum. And if not, and then if you extend your legs, just see how it feels. And the other option is no prop underneath the sacrum. So I'm going to take a pillow just underneath there. And then we'll bring our hands back to the back of the neck. And just find those points outside of the bands of muscles there and just let the arms open wide and just press a little bit into those points. Give yourself a little massage on the back of the neck and the occipital ridge. And then go ahead and release the hands alongside the body. We're going to extend the left leg long, draw the right knee in, bring the left hand to the side of the right knee and just draw the knee a little bit to the left. So just beginning to open up here in the hip joint. If you feel a lot of compression as you draw this way, just notice that. We're going to address that in a moment. Just allow that space of the breath to make space in the joint. One more full breath in, full breath out. And then release the pull of bringing the knee over towards the left. Draw it back to center, and we're going to draw that knee into the right armpit. And here, just breathing in and breathing out, drawing the knee closer into the armpit with each exhalation. As you inhale, you might feel space. As you exhale, see if you can draw the knee in a little deeper. We're going to take about 10 more breaths here, so just relax into it. Allow the weight of the arms to bring the knee closer to the armpit. As you inhale, allow that space to grow between the knee and the armpit. If this feels like too much of a reach, just use a strap. Go ahead and find a few more breaths here. Make these last two breaths a little deeper, a little bit more profound. Draw that knee in towards the armpit. And then we're going to keep that left leg extended. Now, if at any time the left leg starts to feel like it's overextending, just bend the left knee and bring the foot onto the mat so you're in a bridge prep. If that feels comfortable, leave that leg extended. You're going to interlace the hands behind the thigh, behind the right thigh, and as if you're pressing the thigh out. So you're moving the thigh into the hands. Hands are interlaced. Knees about 90 degrees, and then flex that foot as if you're stepping into something. And then start bringing the hands lower down onto the thigh. So you're walking the hands down as low as you can get. And then activate the left foot as if it's pressing against a wall. So you're actively here pushing the right leg into the hands. Extending the left leg long with the toes flexed as if you're pressing into a wall. And then we're going to take about 10 breaths here. So just relax into the back. Let the earth support you. Feel the support underneath the back. And then keep this action in the legs. And then use your inner eye to notice what's going on inside the body. Just 3 more breaths here. And then draw the knee back towards the armpit. We're going to bend the left leg so the left foot's on the mat and open up the right leg so the right ankle's on top of the left thigh, coming into cobbler. And here we're going to make some space in the joint. So take the heels of your hands and just press into the thighs as low as you can get them. So if you felt some compression here earlier when we were drawing the knee across the body, we're just going to press the hands into the thigh bones so we can make a little space. Now, if the back is arching, there's a good chance that those muscles are really tight, that those little muscles in the pelvis that connect the back and the diaphragm to the top of the trochanter and the pubis bone. So just allow it to open. See if you can relax the belly button towards the spine. Take another full breath in, full breath out. And if you're on a block, you can stay on a block. If you're on a pillow, you can stay on a pillow. Or you're welcome to lift and move the pillow down underneath you. So either way is fine, whatever you're most comfortable with. And then we're going to draw the left leg in, interlace the hands behind the left thigh. And then draw the left leg towards you. Now, if you feel tightness in the back or you feel some overarching in the back, definitely remove the block so you can feel the lower back on the mat. And again, we're going to create this little unit of tensegrity, of tension. So you can either really relax the thigh out so that the fingers are holding, or you can use the muscles to draw the left leg towards you. You'll feel it has different effects. So just find your shape, your pose, and then we're going to just breathe into it. Breathing into anywhere there's tension. Exhaling that tension out. Keeping the right foot flexed to protect the right knee. You can relax the left leg down. So sometimes in figure 4, people are keeping the leg up or keeping the left foot flexed. You can really relax that left leg so that you're really targeting the outside of the right thigh, that IT band, and our little tiny piriformis muscle. We're going to take about 10 more breaths here, so stay with it, breathing into anywhere there's tension. Feeling that energy of the kidneys in the lower back, just relaxing to earth. So the arch in the lower back, the lordosis, it's relaxing. Take one more big full breath in, full breath out. And then keep the right foot where it is. Bring just the left foot to the mat. And now if you're on a block, go ahead and scooch that out from underneath you. If you're on a pillow, just move it between the foot and the buttocks. And then you might like another pillow onto the left side. We're going to walk the left foot towards the center, stack the right knee at the center. Press into the left foot, lift the hips, and draw the hips a little bit over to the right, set them down. Coming into a twisted root here. So you can perhaps tuck that right foot behind the left calf, or perhaps not, and then bring yourself over into a twist. So the bolster is here, either between the feet and knees or alongside of you to catch the legs, to support the legs. And then we want this right shoulder to be also weighted onto the mat. So you can press into the arms and the head, lift the shoulders so they're more evenly placed on the mat. And just take a few breaths here, feeling what's going on inside. So here we're wringing out, twisting around to wring things out, move some of that water element around. And then we're going to be in this pose for a few minutes. So see if your neck is ready to unwind by just gently starting to look towards the right hand if the neck starts opening towards the right. And if that feels open, bring your left hand behind the skull. Find that occipital ridge and that point along the right. And just let your hand hold that occipital ridge, activating those acupressure points in the back of the neck. You don't have to massage here, just relax into it so that your head is looking gently towards the right, activating those acupressure points on the back of the occipital ridge and the neck. Twisted roots are moving towards the left side, and then just relax into the pose. And then use the breath to go deeper into the shape, expanding the breath. Anywhere you feel tension, breathe that spacious breath there, and then just exhale it out. We'll be here for about another 7 breaths. So see if you can let these last breaths here be the longest, most profound ones yet of the practice. Feeling the spaciousness on the inhale and then allowing yourself to go deeper on the exhale. If you have a hold of the back of the head, go ahead and roll the head back to center. Take your arm out. Extend the left arm long and take a few breaths, just looking straight up at the ceiling. And then just keep the left foot on the floor. Just roll back onto the back. Unwind the legs. Walk the hips back to center. Bring the hands up around the knees and just give yourself a big hug. Rock a little side to side. And then we'll take the same sequence on the other side. So depending on if you had the pillow under the sacrum, nothing under the sacrum, or the block, just see if you can find that again. Press into the feet, lift the pelvis. Find your foundation and then extend the right leg long. Draw the left knee up. Right hand to the outside of the left knee and just gently drawing it across the body. So you might not feel much here, or you might feel a lot. So we're just doing this to just gauge a little bit and start to unlock. So there's a lot of spirals in the body. So even here, you're connecting across that central axis. Go ahead and take one more full breath in. Breathe down any tension, exhale it out, full breath out. And then release back so the knee is in line with the left armpit, and just start drawing that knee in towards the left armpit. So as you inhale, you might feel the knee wants to reach away from you a little bit. As you exhale, you can pull it closer in. Just having a play here, noticing where the tension is as you draw the knee towards the armpit on the exhalation. Noticing what happens as you release a little bit on the inhalation. One more breath here. Exhale completely. And then we're going to release the interlace of the hands to behind the thigh. Activate the left foot. 90 degrees, so the knees bent about 90 degrees, foot's flexed about 90 degrees. And just start as if you're pressing into something with the left foot, and then activate that right foot as if that's pressing against a wall as well. And then in your next 3 breaths, just start moving the hands down the thighs so that you bring the hands pretty much as low as you can. And then keeping both the legs active. Again, you have this little unit of integrated tension, pressing the thigh bone into the hands interlaced, or pulling the thigh bone back. Using the breath to get into the shape. And Keep inhaling as you exhale. Notice where there's tension that can be released. Just 7 more breaths here, so stay with it. Keep those feet active. Keep pressing that thigh bone into the hands. See if you can find another full breath in. Full breath out. And then go ahead and release. Draw the right leg back in. Place the left ankle over the right thigh. Now here you can decide if you're on a block, it can either help you go deeper into the cobbler or it might be annoying. So you decide if you want to keep the block or pillow underneath the sacrum. We'll start by taking the heels of the hands to the top of the thigh bones and just pressing those thigh bones down and away. Again, you might start to notice how these different areas are connected as you feel some sense of release or relief. So just really pressing into the bones now. You don't have to press as hard as you can. Maybe just like 30% of your effort, 50, 40% of your effort. So just to give yourself a little feedback here. Take a few more breaths here. And then we're going to release the hands from pressing the thigh bones down. You can draw the right leg towards you. Again, you can remove the pillow here or the block if it's not comfortable, or you might find it helps you come deeper into the pose. Flex the left foot to protect the left knee. Relax the right leg as much as you can, and then just start drawing the right thigh towards you. We're staying here about 2 minutes, so just playing around. Keeping that left foot flexed. Noticing what happens as you draw the right thigh in, or perhaps you can use that left arm to press the left thigh open. Just noticing how these different things connect. That you might find a relaxation or release somewhere completely different than where you're targeting in the pelvis. You might get a crack or release in the neck or the shoulder. So just allow yourself to see where you need to be opened. See if you can find 5 more breaths here. Let these big, deep breaths take you deeper into the shape. These big, deep breaths create more space. And then we're going to release the hold of the right leg, but we're going to keep the feet just as they are for a moment. This time we'll take the block or the bolster out from underneath the pelvis. I like to have it just here between the buttocks and the knees because it'll help me come into the twist. If your pillow's not very wide, take another bolster or pillow on the right side. And then we're going to stack the left knee over the right. Press into the right foot, lift the pelvis, move the pelvis a little over to the left, and then set it down. Arms out to either side. Perhaps you can tuck that foot in behind the leg. Perhaps not. That's not really what's important. When you feel ready, go ahead and bring yourself to let the legs fall over to the right. And then press into the arm bones. See if you can bring the left shoulder closer to the mat. So if the left shoulder starts really peeling up, use more bolster underneath the legs so that both points are supported. The legs are supported by the bolster, the shoulder is still touching the floor. And then check in with the neck. Is the neck ready to unwind? Look your eyes towards the left. If the head starts to follow, the neck wants to unwind, just allow it to move to look towards the left. And then you can give yourself some of that good energy into those acupressure points by just bringing the right hand underneath and around the occipital ridge alongside the left side of the head. And then perhaps closing up the eyes and just relaxing into the pose. Directing the breath anywhere there's tension. Allowing the breath to make space in that place and then exhale the tension out. Stay with the breath. Making space in the body and then just allowing gravity to do the rest of the work. So all you have to do is breathe to make space and then let gravity move you into that space. You have about 10 more breaths to play with here, so just allowing yourself to notice where the body is ready to release, where the body is ready to relax. Noticing the supportive earth and just allowing yourself to be supported, relaxing into that support, relaxing into gravity. If you've moved the hand to hold the back of the head, on your next inhale, just breathe the head back to center. Release the arm. So both arms are on either side of you. Take a few more breaths here. And then go ahead and roll the legs up. Unwind the legs ever so gently. Walk the hips back to center. Bring the knees towards the chest and just rock a little side to side. And then we're gonna transition onto the belly. So you have a couple of choices here. One is you can bring the fingertips to the thighs and roll from the shoulders to the buttocks. I'm gonna remove the pillow. Or you're welcome just to bring the arms up overhead, roll to the side, and take a few breaths in fetal pose. When you're ready, take a sip of water. You can look at the screen, I'll show you the choices. We're gonna start in a crocodile pose. So, depending what props you have, you can take a towel out wide along the mat. You wanna protect your crest of your pelvis. And some people like to protect the knees. So I already have a towel on my mat, but I'm just gonna fold this towel here and bring my knees onto the towel. And then we'll just take a few cat and cow here. Gently rounding and arching the back. On the exhale, rounding the back. On the inhale, arching. And then we're gonna start to add the toes as you exhale into cat, untuck the toes, press yourself back into child's pose, expel all the stale air. As you inhale, draw yourself back forward into cow. So just a few flows like that. Rounding the back in cat, pressing yourself back to child's pose. Inhaling forward, finding cow, one more. Exhaling back, cat into child's pose. Inhaling forward into cow. And then coming into crocodile, you can keep your knees on the towel, walk yourself down so the pelvis is also a little bit padded. Some people might even like something under the knee. We'll stack the forearms and wrists so the forehead can come onto the forearms and wrists. And then we're gonna open the left leg or the right leg, whichever side you want to start on, 90 degrees away from the body. Foot is turned out. And then you can press the knee out towards whatever knee you're opening, you can press that knee out a little bit that direction, and it'll bring the front of the pelvis more directly onto the mat. Once you find the shape, just relax into the shape. Forehead is supported by the arms. And then just find the breath again. Breathing into anywhere you feel tension on the exhale. Releasing that tension and moving into that spaciousness that you've created with the breath. We're going to find about 7 more breaths here. So see if you can make each breath a little longer, more profound than the previous. And then just slide the feet back together. Find the center line, rock the hips a little side to side. And then you'll open up with the other leg, 90 degrees away from the body. You can press the knee out a little bit in the same direction to allow the pelvis to come onto the mat. And then just relax into the shape, use the breath. See if you can find 5 more breaths here. And then go ahead and release the feet to touch behind you. Rock the hips a little side to side. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Draw yourself back up into a tabletop. If you've brought the towel on to protect the knees, go ahead and make sure your knees are on it. And then same thing once again. Take a full breath in. Exhale, belly button towards the spine, pressing into cat, and then back into child's pose. On an in-breath, coming forward into cow. Exhale, cat into child's pose. When you're ready to inhale, coming forward into cow. And then this time, cat into child's pose. We're going to hold the child's pose. If you want to bring a bolster underneath the belly and the chest, go ahead and just draw that underneath you. Turn the cheek to one side or the other. And again, as you inhale, allowing this area around the sacrum, this lower back to find spaciousness here. So let the tailbone be heavy, moving towards the heels. Let the knees be supported and soft so you're not contracting the body. If it feels like too much on the knees, you can bring the bolster between the lower legs and the buttocks. Give yourself a little support. Just go ahead and find about 5 to 7 big, more spacious breaths here. And then go ahead and lift the head. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Press yourself up. We're going to come into a reclined butterfly. So here again, you're going to want your matching props. So 2 matching props for underneath the knees, and at least 1 bolster underneath the back. Perhaps you want to use blocks or a bolster so that you don't want your head hanging off. So bring yourself to the sacrum, is to the edge of the bolster or the bed pillow. Bring the feet together. You can interlace the toes if you like that, bringing the toes into the negative space of each other. And then make sure the knees are supported. Go ahead and just lay yourself back. We're going to bring our awareness back to these water meridians. First, by bringing the hands to the crease of the hips, into the hip creases. And here, just feeling any pulses, any sensation in the body. Take 5 deep breaths with the hands, noticing what's going on in the hip creases, what's going on underneath the hands. Is there any tension? Can you breathe some spaciousness into that tension? And then we're going to bring the hands to the bottom of the rib cage where the diaphragm attaches. We sometimes hold that area and just let the warmth of the hands heal, warm, release that area, the bottom of the rib cage. Just breathing in and noticing what's going on underneath the area of the hands. And then we're going to bring the hands just below the clavicles, just below the collarbones, just above the breasts, just outside the sternum. This is the end of the kidney meridian, so we're just going to allow the warmth of the hands to bring any release and openness. Then we're going to move the hands one more time, coming back into those bladder points in the back of the skull. So you can interlace the hands or just have one hand inside the other, one palm inside the other. Take the thumbs just outside the band of muscles just below the occipital ridge. And you don't even need to press very much here. You can just allow the warmth of the hands to open up that space. And then go ahead and release the hands from the back of the neck. Hands can either be on the belly or just alongside the body. See if you can just find 7 to 10 more big deep belly breaths here. With each inhale, feel the spaciousness of the air coming into the body. On the exhale, releasing the gravity. Noticing where the tongue is. If it's stuck to the roof of the mouth, see if you can release any tension in the tongue, in the jaw. Noticing where the shoulders are. The shoulders are curled up or towards the ears. If you could just release that on the exhalation. And then if you have the toes woven together, just go ahead and draw them apart. You can gently reach the hands down to the outside of the thighs and use the arms to press the thighs towards each other, knees together. And then keep your back where it is. Walk the feet out a little bit and draw the knees together. So you're internally rotating that trochanter, the leg bone. Take another full breath in, full breath out. And then walk the feet together. You can either bring the hands up overhead and just roll up your props, or you can use the arms to draw yourself up. Make sure you bring the chin towards the chest, and then press yourself up with the arm bones. Once you're seated, just go ahead and let the knees drop from one side to the other. And with our water theme tonight, our last pose is going to be surfboard. You can take a traditional savasana, or I'll show you how to build a little surfboard. So a surfboard is really similar to just taking shavasana on the belly. I'm going to have one thing under my ankles. That thing could be a pillow, it could be a folded towel, long ways. And then I'm going to have another bolster, or could be a folded blanket underneath the thighs. So what this will look like is knees on the mat, some prop underneath the front of the ankles so the knees are on the ground, and then the bolster or blanket is going to lift the thighs. Now the head is going to either come turned on one side, or perhaps you can bring it stacking the forearms. So you can use the blanket to lift. I found that a bed pillow works quite nice to bring the thighs onto the bed pillow. That gives us space for the face. You can just stack the forearms. So see if you can find some version of this with the feet supported The knees on the mat, thighs supported, belly supported on a bolster, and forehead supported. And if that's just doesn't feel nice, just take your traditional Savasana, which is going to be just on your back with a bolster under the knees, feet on the mat, back on the mat. So whichever you decide, find your pose of constructive rest. If you're in your surfboard, you're going to feel the compression in the belly of as you breathe in. And wherever you are in this constructive rest, I'm going to guide you through a little auto-suggestive guided relaxation. You can follow the sound of my voice, repeating silently to yourself. I relax my toes, my feet, and my ankles. I relax my toes, my feet, and my ankles. My toes, my feet, and my ankles are relaxed. I relax my calves, my knees, and my thighs. I relax my calves, my knees, and my thighs. My calves, my knees, and my thighs are relaxed. I relax my hips, my pelvis, and my buttocks. I relax my hips, my pelvis, and my buttocks. My hips, my pelvis, and my buttocks are relaxed. I relax my belly. I relax my heart. My belly and my heart are relaxed. I relax the lower back, the middle back, the upper back. I relax my lower back, my middle back, and my upper back. My whole back is completely relaxed. I relax my shoulders, my upper arms, my elbows. I relax my shoulders, my upper arms, and my elbows. My shoulders, my upper arms, and my elbows are relaxed. I relax my lower arms, my wrists, my hands. I relax my lower arms, my wrists, and my hands. My lower arms, and my wrists, and my hands are relaxed. I relax my neck, my jaw, my face, I relax my neck, my jaw, and my face. My neck, my jaw, and my face are relaxed. The whole body is completely relaxed. My whole body is completely relaxed. I relax my mind. I relax my mind. The mind is relaxed. Since you're in your own home, Shala, you are welcome to stay in this pose of constructive relaxation, constructive rest for as long as you like. When you're ready to move again out of the pose, if you're on your belly and surfboard, you'll just come onto your knees, take a stretch, take a cat and cow. If you're on your back in Shavasana, start to move the fingers, the toes. Take a full body stretch with the hands and arms up alongside the head, and then roll from one side to the other. So when you're ready to do that, just start expanding your breath, taking deeper inhalations and exhalations until you're able to gently move yourself. Otherwise, I welcome you to just let this moment of constructive rest soak in, sink in. It's my pleasure to guide you. Keep your light shining bright. Namaste.